Well, hello. So recently I got some new glasses and I didn't get the non glare, or you could go glare, glare, or glare. And so I have a glare. So I'm going to have my head so it won't kind of glare and ruin some of the signs and see my eyes. So we'll see. If not, then I can change out into my other glasses. Okay, so I had a subscriber and they suggested things that are in a restaurant. Now, that is a sign for restaurant. It is an R and it goes to each side of the mouth because you're wiping it like a napkin. The sign for napkin is this, right? So then restaurant. Also, I do N for nutrition, the same thing. There's not really a standardized size for nutrition in the area that I've worked in, and so I've used that for nutrition. So first we have our restaurant. And so we go into the restaurant. Of course, we're going to get a napkin, right? So now we've got those two signs that are similar. And so the first thing we want is the menu. Now, some people spell it, but here's another way that's kind of fun. So you can say food list. So and you open up the book, right? You open it up and you look and see what you want. And sometimes it'll have other pages or you flip over to the side or whatever. And so it's food list open. Or you can even open it like this if it's a big menu and turn the page like that. And so that's going to be your menu. Now, that's at a restaurant menu. If you're on a computer menu, it's going to be menu, right? It's going to have all the list of all the things that you need to do, or a drop down menu. So that's different. That's computer. So the restaurant menu is food list, and you open up your menu. Okay. So next, I had to write down a list because I knew I would end up forgetting. Okay. So then you have your waiter. So your waiter is both hands out, and they're open 5 hand, and or open B, I'm sorry, because this would be open 5, open B hand shape, and you go back and forth. And the reason why that's waiters, because they would have all these trays that they would carry, or dishes they would carry, and they would kind of balance them, right? And they would have to hand them. Sometimes you see them with the plates all up here, and they'll have to do this, right? So this is the sign for waiter, so you've got to put the on there. So this is wait, or to serve, and then this is a person. So a waiter or a server, or your waitress, right? Your waiter. So it's the same sign because it's somebody that's serving something, and it's because of the dishes. It's kind of balancing out. They don't want to, drop them. I did that when I was 15, 16 years old. Okay, so the next one is, I've kind of put the two together, is cook and chef. Now, if you go to a fancy open 5 hand shape, and you're like this, it's fancy. If you go to a fancy, or it's a fancy, either one, a fancy restaurant, you may have a chef. And there's 3 ways really you can do it. The first one is to finger spell it, CHEF. The second one I thought was kind of fun is their little hat. I saw someone actually sign it, the chef, or I want to be a chef. They were going to school, culinary school, so they're going to chef school. I go, oh, that's pretty cool. So you kind of draw the hat, right? It has that little band in it. It has that, but you do it with both hands. You can do it that way, or the other way is cook, the cook. So we've already done cook, so it's like you're having a pancake, right? Going back and forth, and so it's a cooker, or cook person. So cooker, right? We have waiter, waitress, and a cook. Or you can have a chef. It's like I said, if it's at a fancy restaurant, or a chef, So we want to have those. So then a bus boy, and a bus boy. Let me spell it out here. And that is the person who cleans up the table, right? And so that's the sign that you would use instead of saying like bus boy. That is not ASL at all. So you would do the person, the table they clean, right? The person, because it could be male or female, so it's just the person. and oh, it's not clean good enough. Can they come back and clean it again, right? So that's the bus boy or the bus person. I don't know what they call it now, if they still call it that. Okay, so the next one, you want to be seated. You're going to have a table and you're going to have chairs, right? So these are the chairs, and then to have a seat. So this is the on your left hand, or the hand that you do not write with, is the seat of the chair, and then you sit on it. Now, some people want to put their legs over it, but it takes too much time, and so most people do this. So to sit down, chair, do it twice, sit, chair. If you want a high chair or a booster seat, you could do chair high, right? A high chair. It's not really correct, but there's not really a good sign for high chair. The same thing for a booster chair. You want chair, and then you have that little seat, chair, seat. It may go on top of the seat. It goes on top, a booster chair. So I would play around with that. There's not. You have to do more gestures and classifiers with that one. On high chair or booster chair. You could do a car seat, like if you're gonna, okay, let's get in the car now and go home. So you would do car seat or seat car, either one, and that one, because it's short, you can do the other one. The next one is a salad bar, and if you go to a fancy restaurant, they're not going to have a salad bar, but so it depends on where you're going to go. But let's just do this. So salad, you take your open hand shape, 5 hand shapes, and you're going to toss the salad. So that is the sign for salad. So you could say, oh, I want to start with a salad. And then they're going to ask you what kind of dressing, and you would probably have to spell that, unless it's like Italian or something like that, that there is a sign for some of those. Ranch, I would probably spell. All those I would probably spell. But if you had like a salad bar, choices. Because some restaurants will have a salad bar, and they even have like at the Chinese restaurant or an Asian restaurant, they'll have those big bars. It's not just a salad bar, but all the food, different. And so you can walk over there and choose. Oh, I want a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so you could do it the same thing with a buffet type of thing. That would be a buffet. Okay. So if it is noisy there, you could say, oh, it's loud, or it's noisy, or it's hard to hear. So remember, this is anxiety, but you have to do it from the ears for noisy. It's up here, it's noisy, and your face, right? It's noisy. Or ear, loud, deep, right? Deep, loud, deep. It's loud. It's noisy in here. Oh, it's a Mexican restaurant. And some people maybe want like a wine, so a W for wine list. And it could be just one, paper, or it's in the menu and it's maybe the last page. Or they have a bar. It is an open A hand shape, the bar. Some people will sit at the bar if it's really busy. They're at the restaurant, they're going to sit at the bar and wait until a table is ready. Some people do that, or they can eat at the bar. Let's see. And then my husband wanted to make sure there was avocado in here. So the sign for avocado doesn't really look like it, because it's scooping out the avocado. You have the skin here. Let's say you're holding half of the avocado in your hand, and then you scoop it out, right out of the skin. And so if you were going to get some guacamole, there's not really a sign for that, but you could say avocado mixture, or you could just spell guac. Most people know it's guacamole. And then you would have your chips, and it's a C hand shape, and this B hand shape does nothing. In the C on here, it breaks. It is a chip from a piece of wood, right? So it's chipped off. So that's chips. And then your salsa, you could either spell it, because you may want cheese sauce, or you may want some salsa, or you want some dip, right? Some chips and dip. You can do that as well. because they have different kinds. They may have some green sauce. They maybe have some red sauce, or you might want some cheese sauce, that type of thing. Okay, so okay, and then if you want the check, and then you're going to pay a tip. So I've seen check 3 different ways, and this is a check for at a restaurant, not like but the kind of mixture. Okay, so here we go. You can have the check where it's a long one, or you can even with your right hand where it does the action. A check is it's long, it's rectangular, or you can have the check, and that's also a check to write, but you can say the check. And I've actually seen some people do check, but that's incorrect because that means I'm going to check, right? Instead of I want the check, and I would do that. Maybe that's why some people do that, because it's similar to that. I probably would not do check, but if you're with some hearing people that don't understand, they're going to understand it because you're drawing it, right? You're drawing a check. Can I have the check, please? Or give it to me, or, divide it out to everyone. One Dutch. And then a tip. So you have to add the sign for check. So you say check, pay, I'm going to add more, right? Or just add and give it as a thank you, right? Or you could spell tip. I like it in ASL better because it's more accurate. Well, so we'll do it again. So you could do tip by spelling it T-I-P, or you could say check, add, give, thank you. Got it? Check, add, pay, thank you. Hope I got it all in there, right? So check, add, pay, or give. Check. I'm getting myself confused. Check, pay, add, right? Gift, thank you. There we go. So check, pay, add, give, thank you. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of signs, and I wanted to do it correctly, and I was getting tongue-tied, so to speak. Okay. I think that was all that I had for a restaurant. But what's kind of fun, like if you are giving the name of the restaurant that everyone's going to, go and meet there, I'll just meet there. We'll all go and meet there. And you can say the sign says like Jaime's, and it's Jaime's, right? So it's got an S on it. So we do Jaime apostrophe S. Jaime's. Oh, I know where that is. Yeah, it's good Mexican food, right? So you can do that. Remember we did Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel. I mean, I would probably you need to start at the bottom and go up. But if you go here down, it doesn't matter because you're giving the name of a restaurant for people to go and to meet. Or, oh, you should go. So, so those are the things from the restaurant that are typical and normal. If you want to do like silverware, let's do fork. So we have our fork. And so in a fancy restaurant, we're going to have a salad fork. And then we're going to have our food fork. If you get crab, if you can't remember the sign, some of these you can spell because they're short words. A crab or a lobster. This is a fun sign, right? A lobster fork because they're smaller, right? Then you have a knife. Remember we did this for chip because you're chipping it off some wood. Well, a knife is sharp. So you have the same hand shape, and that's, you can tell when it's ASL. Chip, and then we have the one hand shapes, and sharp, it's a knife. It's a knife. Then we have a spoon if you have soup. And that is a sign for soup. Get it to you, but a spoon, and yes, it looks like avocado, but remember avocado, and we have the same hand shape. Scooping that out. You see the difference? And sometimes you understand it in context as well, so don't be afraid of that. Steak, it's meat. or I want fajitas. Some of those you can spell, or a tortilla. This is tamale, I think, in Mexican Sign Language. Enchilada, they kind of roll them up, right? Enchilada. And then you have taco, because you have your shell, and then you put all your stuff in it. A taco. Oh, I want a taco, right? So that's more Mexican food. I guess I'm really wanting Mexican food. But when you have like seafood, shrimp, I would spell some of those instead, because they're going, you want a worm? So shrimp, it can be misunderstood unless it's out of context. Or you can have salmon. So if I want fish, and you say, oh, well, which kind do you want? Oh, I want catfish, or I want salmon. So some of those things are spelled. Don't think you're doing it wrong if you're having to spell it, but you can say, oh, I think I prefer fish today, or at a fancy, seafood restaurant, and I want maybe, I want some crab, I want some lobster, I want some salmon, I want fish, right? And then you can specify what kind of fish. I always say fish and then spell the kind of fish that you would like. So there's a variety of different things to do on that. Beans, rice, it's an R. This is pretty English, but that's like the chopsticks. That's kind of the whole motion. But you can spell it as well. When you have those short words and you're unsure and you don't want to be misunderstood, go ahead and spell it a little bit. Or if you have the menu, then you can just point to it, right? And it'll be clear at that point. Vegetables, fruit, dessert. This is date. And then when you put it down here on a plate, it's dessert. It's the same sign. So date is you're meeting someone. Oh, we met. We had a date. We had dessert. It's close to it, right? So anyway, if you can think of different or more signs for restaurant, let me know, and we can do another video. But practice and enjoy, because everyone eats every day, right? Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.